T-Fit here with Fit Bully TV. Hey, when should you add fillers to your food? Technically, never. Should never add fillers. But if I were going to recommend some, especially during the winter time, if you're fasting as well. And what I'm saying is, say you want your dog to hold on to a little bit of weight. You know, if you own one of our guides at mydogtips.com is where you can get them. We get asked all the time, hey, what do you feed? How do you feed? What are some things you recommend? We've got a free guide, tells you all of our food. We've got guides that'll tell you recipes and how to put some of it together. And then once you own the guide, you kind of get access, just to my brain. And, you submit something, we'll turn around and I'll try to update it, and it's a live document. So we go back different times and try to improve the guide as I learn more. But in the wintertime, it's been going to rain here for the next 3 days, for instance. It's just under 30 degrees. The dogs are probably not going to go out and do that much. We already fasted dogs, and we feed 3 to 4 times a week. We split it up and give snacks in between to help provide satiety, keep them satiated. Quinoa. If you have any of our guides, is one of my favorite things to base things in. And what are some things I've done to the quinoa? I'll add beef bone broth. I'll turn around and add some sweet potatoes. I'll turn around and put some spinach in there. I'll turn around and add egg whites, or just simply crack some eggs and put them in there. And raw, so I'll put it in after it's been cooked, meaning the quinoa, because it's still steamy and hot, so there's some light poached type effects. And then if you do get beef bone broth, what are the things that I did? For instance, for every 1 cup of quinoa, you're supposed to have 2 cups of water. Quinoa does not act like a carbohydrate, even though it reads like a carb in the body. What does that mean? Pseudo carb. It's more like, it is a fruit. It's a seed. Oatmeal, it's a grain. You put quinoa and oatmeal in water. Do it if you don't believe me. Cup of quinoa and some water. Cup of quinoa and 2 cups of water. Cup of oatmeal and 2 cups of water. Which one expands and which one doesn't? Not even first. It's like one does and one does not, which is why it has to be cooked. And you're cooking out some of those phytochemicals anyway, but you really need to rinse it for about an hour or 2. Let it sit in water and then pour that water out and then kind of go from there. But at anywho, people, during the winter time, I want them to hold on to a little bit more weight. So I'm going to slow down the digestive tract. I'm going to give them a little bit more fiber. I'm doubling down on a couple of sweet potato. I'm adding the garlic, raw garlic on top. I'm adding the spinach to the quinoa. And guess what? They're still going to get a full-blown meal with 2 proteins and some organs. It's a lot going on here. And 1 cup, it does what? It's a beautiful thing, because a cup of quinoa, it works for the cups. It works. I tell you, they got no muzzle. Look, I heard that the Frenchies are getting to be a little dangerous to people. I saw some stuff pop up. These ones are dangerous. They're just doing a little research garden. I'm not going to get up and stop them at this moment in time, because they're not dangerous. If those were bullies, I would have got up, because these jokers, it's like this. They can't bite each other. They ain't got no muzzle. They just keep doing like this. It's like a joker trying to hit you. He can't even reach. He's like, man, I'm gonna whoop your such and such. He like this. He throwing his elbow on his shoulder. Y'all shoulders. He got no hands on him. He got no hands. So they just like this. Jokers don't even get a scratch on you. You hear? You look over, ain't not even one person got a scar. Now if them bullies, that muzzle start coming out about 3 or 4 weeks, week 7 and 8. These jokers are going on 4 or 5 months, and they still tiny. You go, we got to break this up, because one of these jokers could get killed if that type of energy continue to progress. These aren't violent dogs. They can't hurt a fly. They could probably do a little damage, but even if they nick you, be like, look at that that thing ain't do nothing. That being said, people, in this particular video, preparing the dogs' meals, I'm making sure they get a few things. When I do a fiber-enriched meal, I'll take more protein away. So here's the thing. During the wintertime, I'm also super interested in boosting their immunity. And if you have, I got the gut section right here. Dr. Brady's book, he talks about dogs have highly elastic, highly acidic stomachs and undeveloped cecums and short, fast intestinal tracts for a carnivore. Although the food sits in their stomach a little bit longer than it sits in humans. A cecum basically is a fermentation tank. So what that means is it can't process carbs at a high level, which is why we try to find carbs that reduce function of the pancreas. Meaning, like for instance, apples, pancreas won't even get involved if you feed your dog apples. It has no reason to. It's pure like, oh, got it. We got what we need. Boom, went to the steps. But when we look at immunity, what are some things that you can power your dog up with during the wintertime when you and your dog are not spending 3-4 hours outdoors? A solid, good, honest hour, and that be it a solid walk, that be it, you know, us playing in the water, us getting in the trees, us finding a lake or a river and having some fun. Well, those things that are going to boost your dog's immunity: vitamin E, vitamin A, vitamin D, vitamin C, vitamin K. I mean, all your vitamins and minerals. And definitely, I would stay supplemented up at this time, and that's when you add stuff like we put together, your Fortified, and definitely your Puppy Block. Shout out to all those people who've got both of our supplements and my Dog Supps. Here's the thing: immunity is very important to me. Finding ways to sustain them during the winter time when it's 9 degrees outside, also important. Making sure I don't overfeed them during this time, super important, and they don't gain excessive weight. That's the goal. So we enrich some of the meals every other week is what I'm going to do moving forward, with good organs, good fiber, not a ton of protein, but exactly the protein they need. Sometimes I'll double down on protein because we do have highly active dogs, and their metabolism is jumping and running and moving, and it's going, because normally we like to keep them going. It's going to rain here for the next 3 days, so I'm going to lean into it and let them rest. They'll spend some time up here tomorrow where they get to chill. The general's out all day today. But at anywho, people, we'll talk more in another episode on exactly what goes into this stuff. As always, take care of your dogs. Don't forget, it's okay, in my opinion, to add fiber or other forms of carbs that aren't carbs, but they're still carbs during the wintertime. And you ask the question, hey, is it okay to add some fillers? At this moment in time, I would do so, especially if you're feeding raw, because it'll help reduce that outcome, aka you spending a ton of money. Meat's not gotten any cheaper, people. It's just not. It's not gotten any cheaper, and the prices keep going up. And you know, I'm not gonna tell you it's difficult, but you go, wow, I spent 100 and some change for a night's meal. You know, it's one night meal, and we've got quite a few dogs. So if I had y'all's problem with one dog, I'd be rich. That's not the case. Guys, keep taking care of your dogs as always. TV here with Fit Bully TV. Like, subscribe, please. We appreciate those subscriptions, and share with somebody who's got a few more questions, and comment below so that I could potentially find ways to keep helping you guys.